Channel 2, KPRC TV, Houston. The following program is pre-recorded.
Channel 2, KPRC TV. Now, Channel 2 News Nightcast with Ron Stone, Jan Carson, Doug Johnson, Craig Roberts, and the Channel 2 News team.
Hello, everybody. Gulf Coast shrimpers are celebrating a victory tonight.
They won a major concession from the government. They can do their shrimping without having to use those turtle protection devices that conservationists had wanted. Phil Archer has the latest.
I've been on a trip to happiness.
There you go. What began as a confrontation ended with congratulations. Hundreds of angry shrimpers showed up at the Galveston Coast Guard Station this afternoon, most convinced the government was trying to regulate them out of business.
We having to pull a device to protect a species that doesn't even exist over here. We haven't caught any.
Shrimpers blockaded ports all along the Gulf Coast this weekend, protesting TEDs, turtle protection devices the government said they had to use. TEDs are designed to protect endangered Ridley sea turtles. When a turtle is caught in a shrimp net, the TED allows it to pass through and escape. But shrimpers claim TEDs also reduce their catch. They were threatening to continue the blockades when Commerce Secretary Robert Mossbacher announced a compromise from Washington.
What we're going to proceed with is a 45-day moratorium on the enforcement of the regulations.
After that, the government will allow shrimpers to fish without TEDs as long as they pull their nets up every 90 minutes. That's about the length of time a sea turtle can survive underwater. And it's a solution the shrimpers say they can live with.
We'll do what they ask as long as they'll work with us. That's all we ask. We just like a fair shake and somebody to give us an even break. That's all.
Blockade is off. No blockade. We're going to work. We're going to work. We're ready to go to work. We can support our families now.
But it could all start again this winter. Federal officials say they'll take another look at TED regulations in February. Phil Archer, Channel 2 News, Nightcast.
At that time, the government will take a look at the National Academy of Sciences report on the turtle excluder devices, and then they'll reevaluate the regulations.
Houston Police Department is finally looking for a few good men and women in this election year. The city is looking for 250 officers and for a number of civilians to replace current cops who have desk jobs now. Houston requires 2 years of college, starts recruits at $21,000 a year. It's been 3 years since Houston has hired a new rookie class. In the spring, recruiters were in town from other cities looking for policemen and offering them more money for starters. Still, around 500 people came in to pick up information about joining the Houston force. They'll be taking applications through Wednesday. All over the area, people are volunteering to take part in community crime watches these days. Police say the Crime Watch program works. But now one of the crime fighters is dead, and a frightened community is wondering why it happened. Here's Bill Pounders.
Lincoln Green East is a neighborhood in shock over the death of their Crime Watch leader, Clarence Evans.
This is your subdivision. There's a lot of people out there working their butts off, looking out for you and me.
Why does it take the Sheriff's Department so long to respond, asked residents? Why can't we do something about crime? Evans was shot on this residential street as he approached two people in a Chevy Suburban suspected of trying to break into a home. There had been several attempted burglaries that same day in the same area.
It's just getting worse out here. 4 burglary attempts in one day, it's a bad situation.
So why on earth would Evans approach the car? Neighbors say he certainly knew the rules about what to and what not to do in crime watchers. Neighbors suspect he probably knew one of the two suspects and felt safe in approaching them.
It was just a mistake. And it's not going to happen again.
The Sheriff's Department has released a composite of the person suspected of shooting Evans. He's in his late teens, tall and slender. Neighbors expect investigators to find him and possibly save him before residents catch him first. Suddenly, overnight, Crime Watch membership in this neighborhood is growing. Bill Pounders, Channel 2 News, Nightcast.
The Sheriff's Department and the County Constables say they're looking into stepping up patrols in the Lincoln Green East community.
Crack cocaine is one of the driving forces behind crime in Houston and other cities. And today, Mayor Whitmire appealed to the drug czar for money to fight crime. As president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Kathy Whitmire led a delegation to William Bennett's Washington office. The 18 mayors asked for more money for police and jails. Bennett told them more money would be made available with one reservation.
Bill has heard. We have all said today that crack is worse than taxes. Most of us have had to raise taxes in our local communities already to deal with the drug problem, and so we're not afraid to recommend that. In fairness, we will say we did not have a commitment from the Secretary today that he would recommend it.
One thing Bennett and the mayors did agree on, the need for military involvement in the war on drugs. And Mayor Whitmire stressed that the money that is made available for the fight against drugs should bypass state lawmakers and go directly to the cities where it can be put to immediate use.
In Sioux City, Iowa today, an injured passenger from Flight 232 died, bringing the total to 106 killed, 5 still missing and presumed dead from Wednesday's United crash. Investigators are now trying to figure out how anyone managed to survive that terrible crash, and they have determined that people in the back and the front died because the plane disintegrated at those points. The middle section stayed intact because of the solid joints from the wings. And new fire-retarding passenger seats gave those people in the middle a vital few minutes to get out. Other investigators are still trying to figure out why the number 2 engine blew up in the first place.
Exxon plans to withdraw its oil spill cleanup force by September 15th, and officials in Alaska aren't at all happy about that decision. Exxon officials say their decision is non-negotiable. They will do no wintertime cleanup of the oil left over from the Exxon Valdez spill. And Exxon says its only commitment for next spring is to survey the shoreline. An army of 11,000 people has been trying to clean up the damage. Exxon believes winter storms and tidal action will remove most of what remains. The cleanup effort has shown up on Exxon's bottom line. The company today announcing that the cleanup cost from that spill has reduced its second quarter profit by $850 million. When we come back, Stalag, Texas.
Details about World War II POW camps in Texas in the special report.
And later, an amazing rescue effort.
The evaluation committee is in your office.
This is my husband, Paul. He's under a lot of pressure. But now he's taking charge of his health, eating right by cutting down on cholesterol and saturated fat. That's why I cook with Puritan, with no cholesterol and proven 94% saturated fat-free. Better than any other kind of oil.
Your wife calls sneakers before dinner?
Hey, Mr. Principal, carry your books?
Anytime.
Paul's feeling great, and I am too.
Puritan, make it your oil for life.
Decades of testing have given Volvos a much envied reputation for safety, with features like a steel safety cage and crumple zones, front and rear. Of course, safety has its price, low. The Volvo 740 is actually less than any of these models. Now, for a limited time, prices are even lower during Volvo Value Days at your Houston area Volvo dealers. Visit Antique World's 2 huge locations, open every day 10 till 6 for a journey back in time and enjoy fine quality furniture, jewelry, art objects, glassware, and collectibles. Use cash, credit card, or layaway at the ultimate shopping experience. Antique World is more than just antiques. They offer glass and furniture repair, crystal, china, and silver matching at both locations. 1186 Meyerland Plaza at Loop 610 and Beechnut, or 10516 Old Katy Road at Beltway 8 and I-10.
The FBI is following career diplomat Felix Bloch every step he makes. Bloch left his daughter's home in suburban New York today and drove away with several cars full of FBI agents hot on his tail. There is a report that he was spotted in Paris handing a KGB agent a briefcase. We don't know what was in it, and Bloch is not saying. In Washington today, the president says he's disturbed by the allegations. The State Department says Bloch has now surrendered his diplomatic passport. Still, no charges have been filed. The diplomat remains free. Well, it's been over 40 years since men captured by the Allies in the Second World War found themselves in a string of prisoner of war camps across Texas.
On a dirt road between Huntsville and Riverside, you can see the sign for the country campus of Sam Houston State University. That's where the old POW camp used to be, the one Chris Kelly visited with Carl Blumenthal.
This is a real dream, going here after 46 years as a free
Carl
man.
Blumenthal has returned to Huntsville. He first came here in 1943 against his will. Back then, he was a German war prisoner at a POW camp near Huntsville. one of the 120 located about Texas.
I don't think I would ever have been come to the States as a permanent resident if I wouldn't have been here as a POW.
Blumenthal still has the Africa Corps armband he wore on his desert uniform when captured in North Africa. 80,000 German soldiers were sent to the state because the Texas climate was comparable to where they fought.
In the United States, the men are assigned to permanent prison camps scattered all over the country. Here, they are busily engaged in all types of useful work.
In Texas, many POWs harvested crops because farm boys were fighting overseas. They were paid 80 cents a day.
80 cents went a long way in those years when you consider that a pack of cigarettes was 5 cents and a Coca-Cola was 5 cents.
This was really something. I mean, this makes me goosebumps right now.
I'll bet it does.
Yeah.
It's like coming back in time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Revisiting Huntsville, Blumenthal met with Bob Smither, who helped set up the POW camp. They reminisced about the time Smither and the sheriff recaptured 2 escaped POWs wandering downtown Huntsville.
I got my pistol. We went. I gave it to the sheriff, and they were walking along. I drove up beside them, and the sheriff, all he did was just point to the back seat of the car. They jumped in.
Smither keeps the same old pistol in his office.
They had crawled through a drain out there at the camp.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I showed you that drain.
The drain pipes are still at the deserted campsite. So is the camp's long-abandoned hospital and a couple of other old buildings, the foundations of some others. It brings a flood of memories.
In my imagination, I see all those barracks and all those young people who used to be here and had our fun.
These are scenes from an Army training film about how to handle POWs. It was made 45 years ago at Camp Bullis near San Antonio when Carl Blumenthal and other prisoners were held there.
The first thing to do is to frisk them. A quick once-over, no time for a thorough search now.
With more German prisoners held in Texas than any other state at the time, it's ironic none of them were used in this production. Instead, the cast was an MP company based in Houston, looking every bit like the Africa Corps.
The top thought in his mind is escape. So let him know that you know it.
But escapes were rare from Texas camps. Carl Blumenthal says it never even occurred to him.
I enjoyed it. I had my breakfast in the morning, I had my dinner, my stuff to eat, I had a bed to sleep, nothing to worry.
The war was over.
The war was over for me, it's just a guarantee.
And being in Texas for the war was a turning point in his life. It made him want to live in America forever. Chris Kelly, Channel 2 News, Nightcast.
And tomorrow night, Chris Kelly takes us to an old POW camp near Hearn that held part of Rommel's famed Africa Corps.
Still ahead, a unique pickup line.
And Tuesday's rain chances from Doug Johnson.
This is Giant Worthington Chevrolet in Houston, a big, friendly, giant supermarket of cars and trucks. Over 1,500 cars and trucks on sale now at Worthington Chevrolet. Who can beat these prices? Who can beat the financing? Who can beat the deals? Look, 85 Ford Mustang, $39.95. 84 Ford Crown Victoria, $39.95. 86 Chevy Cavalier, $44.95. 87 Ford Tempo, $49.95. 85 Ford Crown Victoria, $39.95. 88 Ford Ranger pickup, $54.95. 86 Ford F-150 pickup, $59.95. 86 Chevy C10 pickup, $49.95. 87 Ford Ranger pickup, $59.95. 86 Dodge pickup, $49.95. A jillion trucks. If you're looking for any kind of a truck, new or used truck, or if you're looking for any kind of a van or a van conversion, come to Giant Worthington Chevrolet, the friendly giant. Worthington Chevrolet on the Southwest Freeway at Hillcroft, open till midnight.
Pride. You can see it in the artistry of every Howard Miller heirloom quality clock. Value. Clocks built to last a lifetime, or 2, or 3. And rest assured, our factory-authorized service department will keep your timepiece ticking year after year. Cheryl's in the Galleria, the place for Howard Miller and other fine clocks and gifts.
I made a great decision
Joan and I weren't seeing enough of each other in the evenings, so I decided to join her in class at our local community college. Now we're studying arts with some of the most talented people we've ever met. My boss thinks I'm a genius for going back to school. I'm making new friends and feeling better than ever. Not to mention what it's done for Joan and me. So make a great decision. Call your local community college today.
There was a dramatic rescue in Albuquerque, New Mexico over the weekend. Two young brothers were skateboarding in a concrete ditch when they were caught by a wall of water from a flood upstream. A policeman tried to save them, fell in. The rescuers then set up a line across the drainage ditch to catch them as they were swept down that stream by 50-mile-an-hour waters. The policeman is nearest the camera, holding on for dear life. Across the stream is Peter Alvarado. His brother David managed to get out. The officer closest to the side struggled. They got an extra rope in to help get him out. Peter Alvarado held on against the buffeting water until suddenly a wooden box being hurled downstream by the force of the water hit him and knocked him loose from the lifeline. He managed to stand up briefly, but was swept away. His body was recovered today 7 miles downstream, but the police officer got out okay.
Force of that water was awesome. That's terrible.
We never can really quite understand how much force there is there, and that's the reason we take these flood warnings so very seriously, because there's hardly anything that can hold up to water, and that goes for the hurricanes and the flash flood watches and warnings and all the rest of it. It is one of the most powerful of all the forces. Well, our conditions have settled down for the night, the cool of evening, as we usually say, and then as the heat builds up for tomorrow, we'll get more scattered thunderstorms, and at times it may not be too widely scattered. The low this morning in Houston was kept kind of low, 70 degrees, warmed up to 87 this afternoon. Right now it's 73 at Intercontinental, 74 in downtown Houston, 76 at both Hull to the west and Hobby to the south, and for downtown Galveston, 78. Barometric pressure high and still going up. Relative humidity also high and probably going up. Wind is out of the east right now at 6 miles per hour. Across the southern half of the nation, there's pretty much a good chance of rain is falling in your area tonight. It's eased up in southeast Texas, moving off to the east and to the west of us. Scattered thunderstorms down around the Keys and around Miami, throughout the southeast, and then very light amounts up in the north, except around sections of Montana, where some of those thunderstorms are getting pretty heavy. In fact, some of those are pretty close to Yellowstone National Park. Light amounts of rain across Arizona. All this is great news out here in the west because it has been so dry and so hot. It's even a little cooler now these days. 76 degrees at Bismarck, North Dakota, 75 at Seattle, 64 in Los Angeles, 72 in Denver, 78 right now at Dallas-Fort Worth, 78 at Detroit, Michigan, 83 down at Miami, and Boston, Massachusetts reports 75 degrees. The forecast for the overnight period is calling for good conditions for us. It's clearing out a little bit, 10% chance of remaining rain, mostly very light, overnight low 71. 30% chance of rain in the morning, so we're going to start off early. 6:36 for sunrise, 89 for high tomorrow, 50% chance of rain with cloudy skies. And then the rain goes on, but at least we're going to taper down a little bit, that probability of rainfall. 40% on Wednesday, still cooler than normal temperatures for this time of the year. Likewise for Thursday with a 25% chance of rain and a low of 72.5, 90 for Friday with partly cloudy skies. And I hate to say it this early, it may bring a jinx about, but the weekend coming up looks good.
We don't want you to jinx it.
No, so let's not talk about it any further.
All right, Doug, thanks. Clothes that your kids have outgrown can make a brighter school year this year for other youngsters through the Shareable Wearables Clothing Drive this weekend. Tim Lake and Tom Reef of Channel 2 joined officials of Exxon and Shell in kicking off the drive today. The goal is to provide 8,000 children, kindergarten through 12th graders, with at least one complete outfit for the school year. You can bring your good used clothes to any of 300 Houston area Exxon or Shell service stations this Friday and Saturday. Shareable Wearables.
Good idea.
Well, the Astros are enjoying a brief summer vacation, but we'll see if they gained on the first-place Giants.
And the question is, will Mike Rozier show up for training camp? We'll find out what Bud Adams thinks about that. Craig Roberts has sports in a moment.
Before you choose a body shop, do they have the know-how to make your car as safe as it was before? Have they repaired over 5 million cars? Will the work be done at your convenience? If you don't know, you better get Mako.
When it comes to performance, some cars just won't accept anything less than Conoco Super Unleaded. By eliminating knocks and pings, Conoco Super Unleaded helps protect your investment. Conoco, Your car deserves a gas this good.
Everywhere I go, people ask me about the Mazda Challenge. I tell them the challenge is to find a better deal than the Mazda 323. It's over $1,200 less than Honda Civic. The no-deductible warranty covers you 14,000 miles longer than Nissans, Toyotas, or Hondas. And right now, you can get up to $600 cash back from Mazda. The Mazda Challenge. Everywhere I go, people are talking about it.
See your local Mazda dealer today and get up to $600 cash back on 323.
When the itch of a teeny bug bite or allergic rash seems to take over your life, reach for Benadryl Cream with the most recommended topical antihistamine. It's the kind of relief you can't get from hydrocortisone. Benadryl Cream and Benadryl Spray.
When the burning, itching, and soreness of hemorrhoids flare up, Tux medicated pads give you soothing, cooling relief on contact. For hemorrhoid flare-up, get Tux from Park Davis.
Time to check our sports now. Here's Craig Roberts.
Okay, Ron and Jan, the Astros are going to open a series with the Dodgers tomorrow night, so they may have kept an eye on how the Giants were doing tonight. On the other hand, if I know baseball players, when they do get an off day, the last thing they do is watch a ball game. They wouldn't have liked this one anyway. There's our guy, Kevin Mitchell, home run number 33 with one on, and that's all that Rick Russell needed. 2-0 Giants over the Braves. He got a hanging curveball on an 0-2 pitch, so it's not all skill. There's a little luck involved. Russell is now 13-4, and the lead is 2 full games for the Giants. Pittsburgh beat the Dodgers. Philadelphia and Montreal have gone to the 12th, and the Cubs lead the Cardinals with the Cards batting in the bottom of the 9th. Rangers, Blue Jays, catch of the night in this one. Give it to the Jays' Junior Felix. Blue Jays lead in that one in the 9th. Brewers, Tigers, catch of the night, part 1, Mike Felder. Yes, robbing Chet Lemon. Catch of the night, part 2, same ball game right here. Give it to Gary Pettis. This guy has had 2 great catches back-to-back days. Toronto 6-3. That game now going to the 9th in Arlington. Cleveland makes it a 7-game losing streak for the Yankees. Milwaukee in the 9th leading Detroit. The White Sox and Seattle 4-4 in the 8th. Well, the Oilers agreed to terms with 5 of their draft picks today. The top 3 picks, though, haven't agreed. Among those agreeing today, Rod Harris of the Aggies and the second-round pick, Scott Kozak, linebacker from Oregon. And late last week, Mike Rozier said he'd like to get Bud Adams involved in his contract situation. Bud agreed, and here's Bart Ennis.
Just over a week ago, Mike Rozier and the Oilers agreed that they were close to striking a deal worth about $5.5 million that would make Rozier an Oiler for the next 5 years. At that time, Mike said his biggest concern was for the team not to have any lengthy holdouts.
Everybody got pulled together once we gave everybody signed and start working hard like it was last year. But right now, you know, it's like you hear from the grapevine where he's not signed, and some guys worry about that because some of the guys we need, and some guys we don't need, but most of the guys are not signed, we need them.
But as the two sides tried to finalize the deal, Rozier became concerned about something else, upfront money. Rozier, who was being represented by his brother Bill, did not like what he was being offered in that regard and wanted to go back to square one in the negotiations. Then he asked owner Bud Adams to get involved. Well, Bud did. Today he released a statement saying that he thought the Oilers' offer to Rozier was fair and, quote, if Mike hasn't accepted our current contract offer and reported to training camp with the rest of the veterans on Friday, then we're pulling that offer off the table. So the battle lines have been drawn. Both sides have some ammunition to fire at the other. Rozier has led the Oilers in rushing the past 2 years and is a 2-time Pro Bowler. But it just so happens that the Oilers have Alan Pinkett and Lorenzo White to fall back on should this thing drag out. Bart Ennis, Channel 2 Sports.
Staying with football tonight, University of Houston got a setback. Linebacker Lamar Lathan will be lost indefinitely. He was involved in a car accident near the main campus. Lathan, number 46, considered a top pro prospect. He's a senior from Wharton, had a fractured and displaced sternum in the accident. Jack Pardee said there's no question Lathan will be lost for quite some time. Practice begins August 14th. And I wanted to update a couple of other things. Drag racer Donnie Gay of Dickinson is said to be improving after his weekend crash near Denver. And paraplegic mountain climber Mark Wellman is about 1,000 feet from his goal of climbing El Capitan. His legs are paralyzed, so he's been using a special rig that requires pull-ups. 7,000 pull-ups will be needed to reach the peak. And how I got Jack Tatum mixed with Jack Pardee, I do not know.
I'm sure that Tatum would have said the same thing anyway, right? Usually we don't read the newspaper to you, but we got a story that you won't want to miss.
A love connection in the classifieds when we come back.
Here she is, boys. Here she is, world. Here's Rose.
She put her daughter on the stage, but she saved the spotlight for herself.
And now
From Boston to L.A., the critics are raving.
Light the lights.
Dime Daily is Rose in Gypsy, the legendary musical live on stage.
Jones Hall, August 1st through 6th. Tickets are available now at Ticketron outlets, including Foley's, or charged by phone. The NCNB Houston Broadway series presents Gypsy.
It's time's turn now. Gypsy.
By now, most of you know about the amazing heat pump, a machine that will keep you cool in the summer and provide safe, flameless heat in the winter, working more efficiently than anything else on the market. I don't know why you couldn't call the heat pump beautiful. This ought to make it a lot more attractive. Now, for a limited time, we're offering incentives of up to $600 or 6.5% financing. And with that, these little beauties are going to move even faster.
Call your light company for details.
What's on your mind?
Grandpa, I know I've caused a lot of trouble in the family. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah, you folks have talked to me, too. That's why we called Spring Shadows Glen and went out to see the place. They've helped lots of teenagers, and they really know what they're doing. I think they can help you, too. Son, before you know it, things are going to be all right.
Spring Shadows Glen. For your teenager's emotional and behavior problems, call 462-4000.
In every city and town you go, from the prairies down to Mexico, you can feel that Texas pride stretching out so far and wide.
Texans take pride in what they drive. That's why you see a lot of Texans driving Ford Escort. You get more features for less money.
It's the best little car in Texas.
And you save hundreds of dollars with big factory option discounts, even before you make your best deal.
Texas Ford and you.
Finally tonight, we call your attention to a want ad that appeared in the Chronicle over the weekend. It said, "Wanted, a good woman who can clean and cook fish, dig worms, sew, and who owns a good fishing boat and motor. Please enclose photo of boat and motor." Well, Misclassified at least has a sense of humor. That's our news. Thanks for joining us. Good night, David.
Good night.